Hey, what's going on? How you doing there? The latest release from Candlemass, Sweet Evil Son, has been released, and I'm just gonna talk about it. All right, this is a solid Candlemass album. And I say that because you can enjoy this album the same way you probably would enjoy, you know, Epicus Doomicus or Nightfall or more recently The Door to Doom. And that's a real fucking like tall thing to say because that one's got Iommi on it. So I also say that because like, all right, Candlemass is a consistent band, all right? Yeah, they've had like a couple different singers, very similar to Sabbath, but like all through their discography, it's pretty much gonna be the same thing. It's that same sort of like, you know, 80s horror movie, sort of, you know, kind of Hellraiser-y, sort of like, you know, confusing Dungeons and Dragons sort of shit, all right? But ultimately, though, it's good. It is exactly what, you know, it is epic doom metal. And you know what? Something came to mind as I was thinking about, like, okay, you know, I was just thinking about the new album, and of all places, well, in the shower. And it seems like that happens a lot, doesn't it? I think the shower is cited as, like, a place where, like, you know, like being real creative. And I was trying to think of, like, why that is. I think the reason why is because, like, when you're in the shower, like, nobody can fuck with you, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got nothing to do. You got no responsibilities in there unless your responsibility is to shower. But like, this is what came to me, all right? Candlemass is a doom metal band, okay? Very much different than, say, one of the others credited with being, you know, one of the big four, St. Vitus, right? Yes, they're both metal bands, they're both doom bands, but one is a doom metal band, okay? St. Vitus, like, you don't really listen to St. Vitus and think, I mean, yeah, you think metal, but you really don't think, like, doom metal, do you? Up against each other, they're not, you know, they're different. You could say that, like, Candlemass is heavier than St. Vitus, but they're both doomy in their own sort of way, you know? Okay, Black Sabbath, the band that the entire genre comes from, Black Sabbath is a doom band. I wouldn't call them a doom metal band. I don't even think Iommi or Ozzy would call it that. I don't think they'd call it metal, right? They started metal, I think, I would argue, and I think many other people would too, but it's just like, all right, you want to talk about modern day members of, you know, we're doing big fours here and everything, all right, like band like Sleep. Sleep is heavy as shit. So is Weed Eater. So is Bongzilla. Who's the other big four of like modern day? I think Electric Wizard, probably. But like, I don't think I'd call them metal. I really, truly don't think I would. Yes, they are gods and they are kings of doom. Oh, which reminds me, I'll get to that in a minute, but you know, band like Candlemass, that is doom metal. All those other bands, I wouldn't call them metal. I would just call them doom, right? So here's the thing with Candlemass, right? Candlemass has always been a very consistent band. The formula hasn't changed a whole lot. They've never like pulled like, okay, you can point the finger when you want to talk about some serious, you know, extreme, let's call it like experimentation. And then experimentation, I think, is just cover for like, all right, what's the latest trend, right? And like, I'm not, oh man, it's really easy to shit on bands that are very, you know, guilty. Oh, guilty's a bad word too. I'm just trying to be a nice guy here because I don't like being, you know, an asshole, all right? But like, you know what I'm talking about though, right? There's been some very, very glaring examples of this over the years, you know, when a band wants to go in a completely different direction, and I always use this one example as like just the gold standard for like, the gold standard for what the fuck are you doing? You know, like that kind of like, all right, so I never really followed the band. As soon as I say this band, you're gonna know exactly what I'm talking about. I never really followed the band Machine Head all that closely. I guarantee you there's probably people out there that know exactly what I'm talking about. I think it was like, I think the album came out in like 98 or something like that, right at the height of like all that like new metal stuff and everything. I remember I heard that song, what the hell's the, how does that song, what's the name of the song? I can't remember the name of the song, but it's that one that's like, I can't even do it like without laughing, right? It always makes me laugh. It's like, time. So I remember I heard that song on the radio, and I didn't know it was Machine Head again, because I knew them, I knew what they sounded like, but I couldn't, you know, they're just never really a band that interested me all that much. And I remember hearing that on the radio, not thinking much of it, just thinking like, okay, you know, I know it's not like Korn, I know it's not a Limp Bizkit, but it might as well be though, because it's one of those sorts of like, whoever this is right now is going off, they're riding that wave, right? And then they said Machine Head, and I was like, wait a minute, Machine Head? I don't think that's like, I don't think that's what Machine Head sounds like. And lo and behold, it was. And I was talking to somebody not long after that about, I was like, hey, have you heard that new song by Machine Head? And they're like, yeah, have you seen the video yet? And I'm like, no. And they're like, whoa, just like get ready. And then I see the video and I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, of course. And look, man, like again, I'm not trying to shit on Rob Flynn or anybody inside Machine Head who, like, you know, made the decision like, all right, we're gonna go in like a different direction here or something like that. I'm not, because at the end of the day, they were just doing, hey, who's to say that like it wasn't in their heart? I'm casting this with all this doubt, saying that like, oh, it was done for money or to get on Ozfest or big tours or something like that. But you know, who's to say it wasn't like they weren't, that's what they were just really feeling when they wrote that music and everything. But what I'm trying to say, the one of the points that I'm trying to illustrate here is you will not listen to Candlemass's catalog. You're not going to find any extreme 180s, all right? If anything, you just find them coming out more and being more of themselves and doing more of what they're capable of doing, right? All right. So, with that being the case, Sweet Evil Son is no different. So, if you're like a newbie to Doom, or if you're like a newbie to just metal, period, right? I think you could probably hear this if this is your first experience with Candlemass or Doom metal. You could probably hear this and enjoy it just as much as you would with Epicus Doomicus. Oh, quick story about that, right? So, like, before I started this channel, I'm like, all right, you know what? I'll do like reviews. And then I realized, man, I fucking hate reviews. I can't, you know, I hate giving them, I hate reading them and all that shit. But the funny thing about it though is that like, it was mostly gonna be like Doom metal reviews, right? Sludge, stoner, all that sort of stuff. And the name that I had for it was Epicus Doomicus Reviewsicus, right? And I was like, that is stupid. You know what I mean? Like, that's a stupid name, right? So scrap that. So anyway, if that's your first exposure, because I mean, I think that's a really likely scenario. A kid, he gets on Apple Music. He doesn't know Candlemass's history. He doesn't know St. Vitus's history. Hell, he might not even know Black Sabbath's history, right? But he opens up Apple Music or Spotify. He sees the albums, like, he sees metal being like advertised, right? And new releases, okay? And one of them would probably be Sweet Evil Son, I think. Clicks on it, Wizard of the Vortex, first song. Here's the cover first off, right? Here's the cover. Pretty fucking cool, man. I think that's a really cool cover, you know? Oh, and when you open Apple Music, it's one of those moving cover things too, you know? It's like, it's one of those moving cover things. Like, pretty damn cool, right? The other album, I know that's like a thing now, and the first album I saw that was like animated like that was Senjutsu, you know, Maiden, and oh yeah, and it was Senjutsu, right? And it's like, you know, it's pretty cool, you know? Kind of reminds me of those NFT things. All right, so like, yeah, I'm not gonna review the album in the traditional sense. I'll just play a short, maybe like snippet of like some of the songs, just enough to like kind of give an idea as to where the album takes you, and yeah, just fucking play some of the songs. So, all right, so first song, Wizard of the Vortex, right? This is a solid opener, okay? If Candlemass is trying to like pace themselves, yeah, they could open with the song, and they probably would too, because have you noticed that certain metal bands out there, the ones that are really proud of their new material, they're confident enough to open with it, where it's like, that has been sort of like a taboo in the past. It's like, nah, man, you don't open with like anything off the new album, or like, you know, hell, the first song off the new album. But like, certain bands do this. Maiden has been doing it the last couple tours because they're that proud and they're that confident of their material, and I think their fans appreciate it. Well, shit, I mean, Pantera did it on their like final tour. I think they opened with Hellbound. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they opened on that last tour. They opened with Hellbound, song 1 off their last album. Oh yeah, so what I'm trying to say here is like, this is a really solid track to open with, and I'm just fucking little, you know, kind of atmosphere-y sort of turn. Can you hear that okay? the bat, that's Candlemass right there, you know? Or maybe it's Sabbath, I don't know. But, you know, so, yeah, man. Just, it's a solid, you know what I mean? It's a solid kind of, I like it. Good song. There's Johan. Alright, so Sweet Evil Son is the title track. That's the next song. And like, this is a great illustration of the way Candlemass are masters of the whole like tension and release thing. Now that is a concept I learned from my buddy Trafton down in Nashville. He's a songwriter down there. And like, country music is all about tension and release. But Candlemass is really good at that. You will hear in the verses, you don't even know that you're being like tensioned, okay? But you get to that chorus and that's where that fucking release is, man. And fucking A, dude. Yeah, man. That's that whole like tension and release thing. That's probably a very poor explanation of it, but it is a real concept, and I think it's a good one, right? So the title track is a good example of that, right? It's fuck. All right, so here we go. I'm just gonna like play it and like see if I can get to the shit. Hold on. It's Wizard of the Vortex. Hold on. Fuck. All right. Here we go. Just feedback. Kind of mid-paced, you know? Very Candlemass still. Doomy. Let's get to the first chorus to like, we're getting there. Right now you're being tensioned, right? That's what I'm talking about right there. This, oh man, you know? That release, you know what I'm saying? The release, it feels good, and again. So yeah, very good track, right? Very good track. I think a great, yeah man, all right. Alright, so the next song, Angel Battle, may be my favorite on the album, right? It's just a fucking like, it's, shit, man. What's kind of interesting is that, like, if you read the little rundown in the description for the album on Apple Music, they did like a track-by-track sort of like thing with Leif Edling, and he's like, he gives his thoughts and he tells a little bit about the album, and it's funny because like the next song, Black Butterfly, he says that like, that's like the Black Sabbath moment, and that's kind of weird because, well, first off, I would hear something like that and be like, wait a minute, isn't your entire discography? And that's not like, that's not a bad thing at all. That's not a bad thing at all. As far as I'm concerned, I think there should be more bands that ripped off Candlemass and St. Vitus and just like the entire doom genre. I don't get sick of it. I don't know, man. But yeah, so he says the next song, Black Butterfly, is like, yeah, it's a very Black Sabbath song. And like, personally, I think this Angel Battle is, but so anyway, it's got this really fucking cool part in the chorus where it's like, all right, I'm just gonna play it, right? Okay, so yeah, this just, it just gets right to work. Right when you press play and you start listening to it, it gets right to work, right? So, it doesn't fuck around, right? Ah, fuck, shit. Hold on. Yeah, see that? See, it doesn't fuck around. It does not fuck around. You see? So this is just like the intro, right? And yeah, and it's cool, but it changes, right? Hold on. You know, like kind of typical Candlemass, like. But something cool happens though, like during the chorus, right? In a second, there's like this like kind of slow part with different part. Oh, right here, I think. Yeah, okay. So, things take a turn in a second. Oh, that's fucking cool, man. Right, you know? Very easy to, like, move to, you know what I'm saying? You can go like that. You can do that. Oh, here we go. Here's the chord. Ready? Ah, right there, that's fucking cool, man. I love that. Yeah. Fuck, dude. like, that's a song I can, like, if I'm not looking at, like, the, you know, time thing, I can, like, scroll to really anywhere in the song and find something cool going on. But yeah, man, that might be my favorite song on the album. All right, so moving on. Okay, so yeah, the next song, Black Butterfly, Leaf said, yeah, it reminds him of, like, Black Sabbath. But I don't know, man. To me, it reminds me of Candlemass. Oh, shit. Hold on. You think Iron Man, huh? I guess I could hear, like, one of the, like, maybe important things to note here is we're not just talking about, I'm guessing, when Leaf says it's like, oh, it's one of our Black Sabbath moments, like, he and the rest of the guys in the band are probably devotees enough to, like, these guys, they didn't go to college, they didn't go to high school, they didn't even go to junior high or grade school. They went to Black Sabbath school, and they got their master's degrees or something like that from there. Because it fucking shows, man. It shows. Well, I mean, you can hear it. It sounds. Listen to that, you know, like really kind of emotionally. That's an emotional release, maybe tension and release. Yeah, man. So that's a same type of thing. That same kind of tension and release in Black Butterfly as many other Candlemass songs, right? All right, so hold on. Now, the next song is called When Death Sighs, right? And right off the bat, like I saw that, and the first thing that came to my mind was When Death Calls off Headless Cross, Sabbath, Tony Mo. Oh, I forgot to say this before, right? Because I got distracted by something, probably the song. Yeah, so it's like, I'm pretty sure that the Sabbath that's being referenced in that interview, he's not just talking about Paranoid or the self-titled or Volume 4 or Sabotage. I think he's also talking about Mob Rules and Tear, you know, and I'll get to that. It's actually important to bring up. Or, you know, maybe even 7 Star, possibly even 13, like probably the Heaven and Hell, the Devil You Know, right? Heaven and Hell, the band, you know, what that whole thing, right? So yeah, that was important to bring up, okay? Because there might be some people out there and be like, they hear Black Butterfly and they're like, that doesn't sound like Supernaut. That doesn't sound like Sabbath Bloody Sabbath. That does not sound like Electric Funeral. You know what I'm saying? But it's because there's a hell of a lot more to Black Sabbath than just those first 4 albums, man. There's a shit ton more, and it is quality, and it is good, and one of the things that the entire discography birthed, well, at least up, what year did Candlemass form? I don't know, but because you could say, like, you could include, like, up to that point, oh shit, like, let's just say it was 82, then at that point we're looking at the Heaven and Hell album, or is that maybe Mob Rules, something like that. But anyway, all right, so When Death Sighs, okay, there's a lot of moments on this album that, like, remind me of other songs that I know, and that is not in any way trying to say it's like a derivative or it's like a ripoff or it's generic. It's not. I'm not saying that at all. It's just like, I like this album a shit ton. I like this album like a lot, right? And so there are times when there are riffs, small little riffs that remind me of certain other songs. And in this case, I was thinking, I was like, if there's a Danzig song that When Death Sighs reminds me of, and I'm like, what is it? What is that song? So I was like really kind of going deep in my head. And the first track that I landed at was the song Without Light I Am off Danzig 7. Not like the entirety of the song, just the real kind of like epic sort of like ending. You can't really call it a breakdown, but just like at the end, right? At the end of that song, there's a part of this that reminds me of Without Light I Am. Without light I am. That real kind of emotional, kind of sad part, right? And then I was like, I don't know. Is it Without Light I Am? Is it really that? Just like an itch I just couldn't scratch, and I had to figure out what it was, but I knew it was a Danzig song. So then I was like, wait a minute, maybe it could be also there's another sort of commonality, right? The last song on the Death Red album, which is Left Hand Rise Above above. Left, yeah, hold on. Yeah, left hand rise above, right? And it's like, that's another one that it's like, there's a small part of it. These are only small parts, not whole riffs, not whole section. I'm not in any way saying that, like, any of the songs or the album as a whole or the songs or Sweet Evil Son as an album is derivative. I'm not saying that. I'm just trying to protect myself from well, coming off sounding like that, right? Because that's usually a bad thing. All right, so anyway, so let me just play the fucking song already, right? Oh yeah, there's also like this kind of like staccato. Is that the right word? Staccato. It's kind of like dum 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 dum. And it reminds me of something like Flesh God Apocalypse would do, you know? But right before breaking out into some sort of like grindy kind of death metal, right? You know? All right, so let me just play the fucking thing, right? Ah, fucking shit. That's Black Butterfly. Damn it. Hold on. Fuck. The fuck? Hold on. See what I'm talking about? It's like kind of that sad sort of like. There's a Danzig song, maybe there's a few of them that sound like that. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it is Without Light I Am, you know? Oh, see, it rings out. Kind of like Demon's Gate, right?
I can hear.
Wait a minute. No, hold on. There's another really shiny example of that. Oh, that's the Flesh God part.
A ring of reapers gathering round my shrine.
It's pretty cool.
Life just keep me some more.
See, man, it just fucking stomps, dude. Like, it just fucking stomps, man, for a doom band. And that's that kind of Messiah thing, you know, that thing he does on stage. He's not the singer on this album, but what is that fucking Danzig song that like sounds like this? Maybe it's Without Light I Am. Maybe it's Left Hand Rise Above, but I feel like there's another one that I'm missing. All right, either way though, that's a good fucking song, right? So far the album's well, I already said that it was damn good, right? But shit, man. All right, let's move on. Now, okay. All right, next song. You want to talk about a fucking banger, dude. All right, if you're a metal fan, right? But if you're deep in it, okay? If you're like otaku, that sort of like fucking level of fanaticism, right? You want to be there when they play this song. It is absolutely one of the highlights of this album. It is called Scandinavian Gods, right? And man, like, put it this way, right? If they wanted to be irresponsible with their live show, if they wanted to be like dangerous, okay, they would open with this. And well, the way I mean that is that like it's the same way with like Pantera, and I know they've done this a couple times. They even did it down in like I think someplace in South America where the fans down there are just out of their goddamn minds, right? But if Pantera was to open with Walk, okay, like, you know, because the place is liable to fucking explode at that point, right? Like just, you know, people go crazy, okay? That's the way I feel about this song. This song is like, it's a sing-along, and it's like, and I looked at the name of it and I'm like, yeah, okay, it kind of reminds me a little bit of Tear, okay? The Black Sabbath album, right? Where it's like a lot of the songs are like based around Norse mythology, and so it reminded me of that. And you know what? Fine, good. If like that's where the inspiration came from, if it came from Tear, good. That's fine by me, right? So anyway, this is an absolute banger. It's one of the highlights of the album. It's a sing-along. It's a fun song. And just fucking, I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna play some of it, okay? All right, hold on. Ah, shit, I did it again. God damn it, man. Hold on. All right, get ready for Scandinavian Gods. Here we go. Hold on. Listen to this, dude. Starts pretty normal. Pretty, like, normal fare of Candlemass, right? But just wait till you get to the chorus, though. Hold on. Oh yeah, it's also got this kind of like electronic sort of thing going on. I don't know. I hear anything electronic and I always think the first thing's like, oh, like industrial, but that's not fair to say because like I'd admit it. Oh yeah, right there. It rings out, right? Kind of like Demon's Gate, right? And he starts where you think he's gonna start, right here.
Carry love from birth to grave.
Song's badass.
Burning myself to be remembered. When all is gone and all
All right. Just gotta build it up. Some tension right here. Wow, dude! Fuck, man! And they do it again! Shit! That's cool. Oh, dude, if you're a fucking big, like, if metal is your life, you want to be at this show. You want to be at the show. You want to be there when, fuck, man. So yeah, man, like, fuck. Scandinavian Gods, what a fucking banger of a track that is, dude. Shit, man. Oh, okay, so the next song is called Devil Voodoo, right? And like, after the just like, you know, holy shitness of Scandinavian Gods, like, it starts out with a soft, like, intro and everything, and you're like, all right, cool. So I just got my fucking ass kicked by Scandinavian Gods, so now, like, I'm in some kind of, like, fjord or something like that, and it's being captained by Candlemass, right? And like, you're like, all right, I'm gonna kick back and I'm gonna relax. Good thing they're rowing and not me, because there's all kinds of, like, the pond is very foggy, so I don't know where we're going. Hopefully they do. I think they do. And you're like, all right, I'm just gonna, like, kick back. But when you get to the other side, though, it is anything but a relaxing experience, because, man, this is straight up heaven and hell. Dio, Sabbath, the devil you know, all right? It is Ear in the Wall. It is Neverwhere. It is Eating the Cannibals. It's that kind of like fast rocker, kind of kick-ass rocker of a Candlemass song, right? This song could be on The Devil You Know. There's also, there's a part in the song that reminds me a lot of Passchendaele, okay? On Dance of Death, right? It's just, I don't know, man. It's like, it's a small little part, but when I hear it, I'm like, oh, that reminds me of Passchendaele, right? All right, so fucking play it. Here we go. Hold on a second. See what I'm saying? It's like, you just got, you know, your ass ripped open by Scandinavian Gods, and now you're like, oh my God, finally I can, you know, like, relax, but it's like, nope.
When everything's the same, I'm lost and I
There's Johan at, like, the front of the boat, the fjord, and, like, you know, oh my God, this is nice. It's relaxing. I have no responsibilities, but
tired and so bored, like many times before, longing for some soul, some devil voodoo.
see, here we go. Yeah, see what I mean? I've seen an ear in the wall. Or like, Neverwhere. Eating the cannibals. See what I'm saying? It's not like a rip-off. It's just like, you know, I mean, you can...
Freeze the time, blind the mind, down to the core. Say my best like you did so many years ago.
It's just like I can... Ah, shit. I've seen an ear in the wall. Does it kind of remind you of that a little bit, you know? I'm just like, I'm gonna keep it going till the Passchendaele part, which I think is like a minute or a minute and a half in or something like that. Pretty kick-ass, this part.
Beyond the inner storm, swarm to the heart.
I'm doing right now what I hate seeing in like reaction videos. I'm not a fan of those, and fuck, here I am doing it. Like, you know, you watch those reaction video things, it's like people like, you just, you know, they're like bobbing their heads and fucking A, like here I am doing the same thing, right? I know the Passchendaele part's coming up like in a second, maybe in a couple seconds. I think it's it right here. Right there. I guess it doesn't help that like I can't really remember. I can't remember the lyrics, the Passchendaele lyrics to that part. But free your soul. I don't know, man. It's just like. If it helps, the next part, the Passchendaele, the next part of Passchendaele, it's the part that goes, you know that, and then the stops for a second, then so yeah, man, another fucking solid track, right? All right, let's see what's next. Okay, all right, so the next song is Crucified, and dude, this is one for the headbangers. This is one that, like, yeah, this is for the fucking headbangers out there. It reminds me of, like, Priest, okay? Yeah, it's like, it's very Judas Priest, right? I can hear it on Firepower, you know what I'm saying? Well, fucking A, I'll let you be the judge, I'm just gonna play it. All right. Oh. It's got a, you know, dramatic, short, little, soft intro, which I think is pretty cool. I like this, you know? Very 80s. Very... Here we go, right? I think. There's some singing. Some singing, right?
Let's catch today and go far away.
Listen to that voice, dude. Fuck, man. God damn it, dude. What a voice, man.
Takes hold of me into the blue.
Alright, here, I think. Memory serves. Yeah, right there, dude. Somebody up at the front, they're like... like that thing, right? You know what I'm saying? I could probably do that better. Hold on. Like... hurts to do that. Oh man. But wow. What a beauty I look like right now, huh? Jesus Christ. Yeah, this sounds like, kind of sounds like something off Firepower, you know? Sounded like he said dehumanizer right there. He may have, you know? He may have. Kind of changes up a little bit. So anyway, like, the next song is, Goddess. Fuck, man, I gotta leave something for, like, Goddess is the last song in the, well, no, then there's, like, an outro, which is pretty funny, because it's called A Cup of Coffin, right? Which is, like, you know, a cup, what the hell is a cup of coffin? A cup of coffee is my guess, right? But, yeah, man, so, my thoughts on this are that, like, again, if you are a newbie to metal or to doom, there's no doubt about it that the first couple Candlemasses are, you know, bangers. But I think if this is your first experience with them, you can enjoy it just as much as the first couple, you know what I'm saying? It's a great album, dude. It's a great album. I'm glad that it's fucking, yeah, I don't know, man. So, all right, well, if you've listened to the album, let me know what you think, you know? If you'd like to. Be cool if you did. But if you don't want to, that's cool too. All right, well, cool. You know, if you like the video, maybe you'll, you know, consider giving it a like. Or if you like hearing somebody bullshit about metal, and cool, man, subscribe. And yeah, stay metal.